from your local election headquarters, the only locally produced political talk show discussing the issues that matter to you. This is Big Country Politics on KTAB.
Coming up on Big Country Politics, Councilwoman Donna Albus sits down with us to discuss this year in local politics, how her first term is going, and what's ahead. And work continues to bring the new B-21 bomber to the key city. A comprehensive update is straight ahead. Plus, after 5 traffic deaths in one day, we're asking questions about the safety of our roads. What we found out next. Thank you for being here for this week's edition of Big Country Politics. I'm Victor Sotelo, and we're joined by Councilwoman Donna Albus. She was elected just last year to the council, but of course she has been a familiar face in the Key City for many years. Donna, thank you so much for joining us. We love having you here.
My pleasure.
Well, we wanted to have you on because we wanted to talk really about your first term in city council and see how that's going for you. What are your first impressions?
1 year and 7 months, but who's counting?
There you go.
Yes. Playing with the boys has been fun. I've been involved in the community for a lot of years, but boy, is this talking about all the pieces of the puzzle and getting them to come together to make a smooth running operation. And my impression is we've got one of the best city managers around, and I am just pleased to be part of that team now. And we don't always agree, but we're agreeable. And so I think that is what the citizens of Abilene want. They want it to be a thoughtful process, and that's what it is. And of course, you can't discuss anything until you get into a council meeting, and then it's like, okay, present your points of view and see how that falls out.
Well, and so I've always wondered, attending city council meetings, how much so when you have a public hearing and people are coming up to the podium, especially when it's a hot topic, how much does that weigh on your decision, the public coming up to talk and giving their opinion? How much does that weigh on your decision, your vote on any issue, really?
Well, most of us have done our homework before, and we've looked into the pros and cons, and a lot of times I've got friends on both sides of the issue. So you know you're going to upset somebody and you're going to make somebody happy. And I guess a lot of it's how it's presented and the facts they have, and it's not just an emotional issue, but really how much that weighs on your decision. And there have been times I've changed my mind midstream. So what I say is, if you've got a point, make sure you express it. And a lot of times people call ahead of time and will give you all the pros and cons of a certain situation. That's good. Emails are good, texts are good, and we listen to them all.
So you don't have to get up in front of a crowd of people and express your opinion. If people are, people can email and call.
Right, and people have asked for private audiences, you know, to give their points, and that's good. You know, I always say that I have a point of view, and if nobody ever counters that point of view, I'm going to go on thinking I'm right. But when you disagree with me or give me another thought process, it gives me 2 alternatives. I can change my mind, or I can really delve into why I've made this decision and do I really believe that. And so I appreciate, but I like it done in a positive, civil manner. When people come at you in a hostile manner, all that does is make you go, whoa. So keep that in mind when you call one of the council or the mayor or the city manager. Things can be accomplished, but if we work together, and that's one thing I appreciate about Robert is all the departments, he basically tells, don't just say no, say that probably won't work, but let's think of something that will. So no isn't the first thing out of people's mouths. And I think that when dealing with the city, that I think about 85% of the population will say that's the attitude that they're getting these days.
Well, that's refreshing to hear,
Yeah.
that point of view. And I also wanted to bring something else. You were voted Citizen of the Year in 2016, and I just wanted to bring that up. Tell me what that was like.
Well, I could die tomorrow and be a happy woman. I mean, that really, I've had other honors, state and national, but to have it from your hometown, well, it's really not my hometown. I didn't move here till 68. So,
it
you
might
know,
as well be.
they're almost starting to accept me. Anyway, but to have the Citizen of the Year of Abilene, I mean, it was like the ultimate. And that's the way I feel about Abilene is what a wonderful place to live. I love the attitude. It's not about me, it's about us. And people will put aside their project to make someone else's work, and then maybe mine will come up later. And I think we started that early on in Abilene's history, when Abilene was just a tent city and people were starting to build their homes. There was a young couple that was going to get married, and everybody else put off building their home until they built the house for the young couple.
Wow.
So that they'd have a place to get married. And I think that's the attitude that we still have today that makes it such a great place to live.
I hadn't heard that story. That's pretty interesting there.
Yeah.
So we were talking about, well, they're wrapping us up here. We got a lot more to talk about,
Okay.
but I want to talk about streets.
All
I want
right.
to talk about the downtown hotel. It's a hot button issue right now. So when we come back from break, we're going to get into those two, and those two, some of the most two controversial issues in Abilene right now.
Absolutely.
All right, we'll be back on Big Country Politics.